In Ecuador, President Guillermo Lasso declared a 60-day state of emergency and the mobilization of the armed forces throughout the national territory following the murder of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. The Argentinian army will deploy more than 85,000 troops to guard the voting centers and polling stations during the upcoming preliminary elections. Ecowas have approved the deployment of a standby force to restore the constitutional order in Niger. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. In Ecuador, President Guillermo Lasso declared on Wednesday night a 60-day state of emergency and the mobilization of the armed forces throughout the national territory following the assassination of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio. After concluding the emergency meeting of the Security Cabinet, the head of state decreed late on Wednesday the measure that affects the entire national territory. Additionally, announced the deployment of military contingents and decreed a 3-day mourning period to honor the memory of the assassinated candidate. Ecuador's Minister of Defense, Luis Lara Jaramillo, warned in a press conference on Thursday that the mafias have declared war on the Latin American nation and that the armed forces and the state will respond with all the power to defend the country. The minister also informed that armed forces will be deployed through the country to guarantee the electoral process.
It is necessary to understand that the mafias have declared war on Ecuador and that the state and the armed forces will respond with all their power. To confront the murderers, their accomplices, those who finance them, and those who protect them. You can be sure that the armed forces will act with a firm hand against military groups, against hired killers, against terrorists. The country is facing a decisive battle to protect democracy, security and peace in the face of the brutal threats of transnational crime, drug trafficking and terrorism. The armed forces have begun the immediate deployment of their troops throughout the national territory in order to guarantee their presence in every city and in every parish, and they will remain there until the conclusion of the electoral process.
The president of the National Council of Ecuador, Diana Tamay, urged citizens to comply with the electoral exercise that will have the support of the armed forces to guarantee the security of the elections.
We invite citizens to go out to vote because with the support of the armed forces and the national police, we guarantee that these elections will be held safely, peacefully, and that we can decide at the polls the new authorities for which we are called to elect.
Likewise, Diana Tamay indicated that the replacements of these candidates can be done before the election.
What the law set forth in Article 112 regarding the death of a candidate establishes that the replacement must follow the due process, as it is that once the political organization requests the instruction of the new candidate, the political organizations must be notified and they have the right to file objections, and then the resolution may be subject to objections and challenges, and even appeals before the competent electoral court. This must be complied with by legal mandate, and we will wait, as it is also determined by law that the candidate might be replaced until before the election. We will be respectful of these deadlines, of these legal considerations, so that the plenary may know the replacement of the candidate.
The President of Mexico, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, regretted the assassination of the presidential candidate of Ecuador, Fernando Villavicencio. The President said that for the moment he will not comment on the motives for the event because there are no elements to confirm the causes of the assassination. He also stressed that in these cases, one must act responsibly and seriously in order not to make accusations likely.
We are very sorry for this incident, and we send our condolences to the relatives of candidate Villavicencio, also to the people of our brother country of Ecuador. These are very difficult and regrettable moments, and also very painful, reprehensible events. We suffered them. We suffered them when Luis Donaldo Goloso was murdered. Many must remember those sad moments of fear. That is why we are very sorry that this has happened in Ecuador.
Let's take a very short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok and Ahora teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. The Argentine army announced that more than 85,000 troops will be deployed toward the 17,432 voting centers and 180,000 polling stations during the open, simultaneous, and mandatory primary elections. Authorities informed that an Hercules C-130 aircraft, 12 helicopters, 3 boats, and around 100 horses will be used to transport the ballot boxes and the material to each place in the country. The troops will have the function of coordinating and executing the necessary security measures established by the National Electoral Code for fair and transparent elections. In Uruguay, the Central Workers Union approved a plebiscite against the Social Security reform approved by Luis Lacalle Pou's government in April this year. After a meeting of the Representative Board, the Central Workers Union will call for the collection of signatures with the purpose of going to a popular consultation and seeking to modify the lowering of the retirement age from 65 to 60-year-old and the elimination of the Pension Saving Funds Administrator. The chairman of the Russian VTB Bank, Andrei Kostin, denounced with President Vladimir Putin the real world test launch of a new digital ruble across 13 banks. The system, which will allow international transactions in national currencies, is mostly being tested in Asian countries, which, according to Kostin, are friendly to Russia today.
The digital ruble is being launched under the leadership of the central bank. 13 banks are participating in this. This is as though not an experiment. This is, in general, the introduction of the digital ruble into practice. We know that there is a digital yuan. We are also working on this basis. Therefore, I think that this and next year we will see much a rapid transition to settlements in national currencies in the countries of the so-called Global South, that is, in the developing states, the states that are friendly to us today.
In Norway, more than 4,000 people were evacuated in the south and east of the country due to downpours and floods brought by Hurricane Hans, reported the television channel NRK. According to NRK, only in the Innlandet region located north of Oslo, about 1,300 inhabitants were assisted. The Civil Protection Department used helicopters to help evacuate the inhabitants of the areas affected by the flood. U.S. President Joe Biden has officially declared a major disaster in Hawaii on Thursday, making additional federal resources available to help fight the ongoing fires on the island. Biden had ordered on August 9 that all federal resources in Hawaii, including military assets, be made available to assist with wildfire response efforts. Today's declarations expands the federal resources available to the island state. According to local media reported, the number of people killed as a result of fires rose to 36, and many settlements, including the popular tourist town of Laihana, were destroyed.
This is Phil.
Indonesia's capital, Jakarta, has become the world's most polluted city on August 10, while ranking among the 10 most polluted cities globally since May. During the past weeks, Jakarta and its surrounding, which from a megapolis of about 30 million people, has outpaced another heavily polluted cities for its concentration of particles known as NP2.5, which penetrate airways and cause respiratory problems. Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. Ivory Coast President Alassane Ouattara said on Thursday that the West African leaders have approved the deployment of a standby force to restore constitutional order in Niger. Ouattara did not provide details on the force to be deployed for the timetable for actions against the military officers who seized control of Niger 2 weeks ago. The Ivory Coast president informed on his return from the Ecowas Emergency Summit in Nigeria that the chief of staff will have another conference to finalize things, but they have the bloc's agreement to start the operations as soon as possible. The president of the Central African Republic, Faustin Anchar Tudera, in an exclusive interview granted to an AFP and TV5 Monde in the capital, Bangkok, he referred to the security situation in the country and the assistance provided by strategic partners such as the Russian Federation.
We're working to restore peace and security throughout the country. Of course, we have our challenges. We have our financial difficulties. But we have relationships with our partners who support us. The government, with the support of the international community, a number of partners.
Speech by the premier at the climax of the three-day debate. Opposition lawmakers who had brought the motion over months of ethnic violence in Manipur state walked out of the chamber, prompting a furious rebuke from the premier, with the government's then winning the vote.
Many people have lost their family members. Grave crimes have been committed against women. I want to assure that the guilty will not be spared and will be strictly punished. The center and state government is together making efforts. We will together find a solution to this challenge, and peace will prevail again. I assure you that in Manipur, all efforts will be made to expedite the pace of development of Manipur.
Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi will participate in the BRICS summit in Johannesburg, South Africa. Iranian Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian confirmed on Thursday during his visit to the country. Earlier, South African President Cyril Ramaphosa invited his Iranian counterpart to participate in the Friends of BRICS meeting. In response to his colleague invitation, Mr. Raisi will visit South Africa in the coming days. The BRICS summit will be held on August 24th in the African city of Johannesburg and will be attended by leaders of Brazil, India, China, and South Africa. Violence in the South African city of Cape Town appeared to have eased after a week-long minibus taxi strikes that paralyzed the city and left 5 dead, including a British tourist. Drivers of the minibus taxis, the main mode of transport for millions of working-class South Africa's blacks, multiple roads in strikes that began last Thursday as a result of the clashes with the city authorities. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English and from the South, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.